2025 is going to be a crazy year for new coasters, and even new parks. And now that Six Flags and Cedar Fair have officially merged into one big park chain, I can say that this will be the biggest year for Six Flags. I predict that at least 2 to 3 coasters will open up in each chain, or Six Flags and the former Cedar Fair. And now that announcement month is here, there's no better time to speculate on what and where those coasters are gonna go. The first park that's highly rumored to get a new coaster next year is Six Flags Great America, which has put signs and teasers all around the park, like these signs that say shedding skin and walk the plank. On the bottom it says #fear the wrath, but to the side it has a QR code that brings you to a custom made Wordle. The word for the most recent one is 7, which people say fits right in with the most likely coaster that it could be, which is a mini B&M dive coaster, because most of the new ones have 7 across trains. Even though that's most likely what it means, it could mean other things too, like 7 inversions. But here's where it gets weird. The park is clearing land in the Buccaneer Battle area, and most people say it's going to use that plot of land. But one of the earlier Wordles that the park made, the answer for it was Demon. And it's also weird that last year many people speculated Demon to be closing very soon. This could just be the park trying to trick us so they can secretly start clearing the other area, but it's just weird that they would say shedding skin and make the answer to the Wordle name a highly speculated to be removed coaster at the park, which is also getting very old. But about the coaster itself, the new one, if it's a dive coaster, which it most likely is, then it wouldn't have been my first choice for the park. I probably would have picked something like a multi-launch from Intamin or even Premier. But it'll still be a great addition for the 16th or possibly 15th coaster. The next park I'm going to talk about is King's Dominion, which we all know will open Rapterra because they announced it a few days ago. It's a B&M wing coaster located in the Jungle Expedition area. And even though this is a wing coaster, which I'm not the biggest fan of, it still looks really cool, and it'll be a great addition to this park. And maybe part of the reason I'm not as excited about it is because the only other wing coaster I've ridden is Gatekeeper. And I feel like if I rode Thunderbird at Holiday World, then maybe I'd be a little bit more excited for this. But anyway, it's just nice to see King's Dominion getting a new roller coaster, because besides Toonbilly in 2022, they haven't gotten anything since Twisted Timbers in 2018. Which, when this opens, that'll be 7 years ago. And before that, they had an 8-year gap. So, since Intimidator 305, or now Project 305, this new roller coaster will be 15 years after that, which is just crazy. But hey, at least they're getting a new roller coaster. Next is Canada's Wonderland, which is easily the most intriguing one out of them all. At first we thought it would be another B&M wing coaster because of the survey sent out to pass holders last year, but after a while, with markings and teasers, we started to realize that this is not a B&M wing coaster, or even a B&M at all. But I don't think Premier was very highly speculated by anyone. But if all the rumors are true, then this will be a Premier dual launch coaster, which means it will have one single track just with 2 launches. It's not 2 different tracks, because then they would call a dueling coaster, not a dual launch coaster. The footers also don't match up for it to be a dueling coaster with 2 tracks, but if you really want to see some good predictions that are most likely true, then watch Amusement Insider's video on it. But anyway, I think that this coaster could be anywhere from 140 to 220 feet tall, with the tallest point being after the second launch. It's nice once in a while to have a coaster that, even up to the announcement date, or right before, because it's tomorrow, none of it got leaked. People have found the blueprints, but they haven't shared them with anyone, and I'm honestly really happy about that, because sometimes it can ruin the announcement if there's spoilers. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see what is announced tomorrow. The next park is Six Flags Mexico, which we know is 100% getting some kind of red Vekoma coaster. It is highly rumored for it to be Energylandia's canceled tilt coaster, because that was canceled not too long before this track appeared on site. If this is what it is, then I think it would be a great fit for the park, because after their elite top 2, they have a pretty big drop off. The next best roller coaster would probably be either Joker or Wonder Woman. But let's look at the chance that this isn't a tilt coaster, because there's nothing confirming that it is. Because I honestly think that some kind of Vekoma launch coaster would be a much better fit. Because Six Flags Mexico doesn't have a launch coaster, and they haven't had one in their entire history. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure there are no longer any launch coasters in Mexico. Unless you count Bullet at Selva Magica as a launch coaster. But even if it is, it's really old and it opened in 1982. So this would give Mexico their first modern launch coaster, because a lot of the locals in Mexico probably haven't experienced a launch on a roller coaster before. I would say that the tilt coaster is more likely, but I think that the launch coaster is a better fit, even if it was as small as Formula at Energylandia. Next is Carowinds, which we know is getting Snoopy's Racing Railway. It's probably going to be a clone of the other Snoopy's Racing Railway at Canada's Wonderland. I personally think that Carowinds has enough family coasters, but I guess getting a more modern one would be kind of nice. If I made the decisions, I would probably take out Nighthawk, Vortex, or Hurler, because from what I hear, those coasters are really bad. And putting something like a dive coaster in that plot of land, or even a modern wooden roller coaster, would be so much better. But maybe that's something for the future. The final park that we know is getting something is Six Flags Magic Mountain, because they put up this sign that says Epic Thrills are coming, with this cool robotic looking bird. In a park with 20 different roller coasters, it's hard to find a gap to fill in their lineup. There have been rumors about it being a Vekoma flying motorbike, which sounds kind of weird, but who knows, it could end up being really cool. There's just one little problem about that, and it's that I'm worried that it'll be too similar to Tatsu, which it's kind of hard to make a roller coaster that isn't similar to one that's already in a park with 20 roller coasters, but I just feel like there's other models that they could go with that would be a little bit more different. But who knows, it could end up feeling completely different and have its own feeling. Maybe it'll feel more like Fly at Phantasialand, which I heard has a very different feeling from the B&M Flyers. But now it's time to talk about a few parks that have a chance of getting a new coaster in 2025. First is Six Flags Great Adventure. I've heard some rumors that because Flash was just a last-minute addition to the park, that they have a much bigger plan for 2025. But in my opinion, I think that they're happy with what they got and don't need anything else for at least a year. And I also don't think that they would announce a new coaster when their new for 2024 roller coaster isn't even open yet. We also haven't seen any land clearing, so I'm going to say probably no coaster in 2025. I've also heard rumors about Cedar Point replacing Snake River Falls in 2025, but I think that is extremely unlikely because they haven't even started taking it down yet, and it won't close until Labor Day. And you know Cedar Point, they usually like to take 2 years to build coasters, especially when they're on a bigger scale. One last park is Six Flags Darien Lake. I've heard zero rumors about it, but it would be really nice for them to get a Gravity Group family coaster to replace the old Grizzly Run Rapids ride. But the park is probably too busy with Mind Racer and Predator's Titan Track, so it would be very unlikely. But I'm really hoping for either 2026 or 2027. But in the end, 2025 is going to be a great year for the new Six Flags chain for roller coasters. And once again, these are mostly just predictions. It doesn't mean that they're going to be true. And if you enjoyed this video, then please like, comment, and subscribe for more, and I will see you in the next video.